We're joined by Kent. Women love him, men want to be him. How are you doing, Kent?
How you doing, Russell? How's it going? You keeping well?
Yeah, like who's that on photo? Gerald Miller and Jug Ears.
Yes, it is. This is the man that tried to make himself a credible boxing journalist for the last year and a half, hammering Nigel Benn's son. Every other interview, he was quite adamant that he didn't like the fact that that he didn't go up before the board. There was two failed drugs tests and so forth. And to be honest with you, I actually really respected him for it because he came out openly and didn't support it and questioned everything, rightly so, as a pundit, as a boxing journalist. But how can you do that for a year and a half, but go and sit and interview Gerald Miller, who has failed more drugs tests than anybody in boxing at the minute? His nickname in boxing is Big Pharmacy Miller. So how could he be that person on Conor Benn for a year and have that opinion on him, but sit down and be his best mate in an interview? He's just a complete hypocrite, Russell.
Yeah, it's poor that from Jug Ears, isn't it?
It's more than poor. It's very, very disappointing. It's very bad. It just doesn't show any loyalty to even AJ. He's meant to be this great supporter and great friend and great admirer of AJ, and he's sitting interviewing him and being his best mate. I watched the interview in protest because if I'm going to talk about it, I have to know what he actually talked about and
Yeah.
to have an opinion on it. And not once did he bring up the steroid tests that he failed, about the amount of substances he took, and about his beef with AJ. And he's an absolute hypocrite.
Well,
So
nobody's talking about drugs, are they, over there? It's a taboo subject, isn't it?
he's probably the biggest hypocrite in boxing right now is Spencer Oliver.
Yeah, disappointing from Spencer, isn't it, that?
Yeah, well, it's just disappointing because I'm disappointed in myself because I actually give him a bit of credit for his opinion on it and coming out and making a stand for boxing and for boxing supporters and for boxers himself and for the media. And he's come out this week and had that interview with Miller. It's disgraceful.
He'll
He's a
probably do
disgrace.
interviews. He'll probably do interviews. And I'm a Miller, but he won't do it with Miller there, if you know what I mean, kind of thing.
It's complete. I would rather respect somebody. It's like this. If you had an opinion on it, and I didn't agree with it, that doesn't mean I'll respect your opinion, but I won't agree with it. But doing that, it's just, how can you respect somebody that has two different sets of opinions on something? You
But
don't know where you stand.
Jug is, when confronted with that, he'll just say, look, Miller's served his ban. And that'll be it. End of subject. Next question. Or lose your press pass if you want to push it.
Well, regardless of any of that, he's a hypocrite.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, boxing is full of them. All I want to do is live on the hog like Nathan Cleverly. That's the life I want. I want to live on the hog. Go on, Nathan, lad. Go on, lad.
But it's disappointing. It really is. It really was disappointing for
What
for
the
for
amount of
somebody.
meat that Nathan Cleverly's sniffing? Oh, the what we were on about there with Miller.
Spencer Oliver, yeah, very, very disappointing, Russell. Really
Yeah,
disappointing.
yeah. Well, we expect that from him, don't we? He's a sellout, isn't he? I'll spend. Book your ideas up, Spencer Oliver. Book your ideas up. What about Eddie and Bricktop working together, Ken? Oh, I bet you couldn't see that, could you? Pop, pop, bang.
As I spoke about in the last video a few days ago, it just seems to me like hell has literally frozen over.
Yeah.
But I was speaking to Richard about it yesterday, and when there's that amount of money on offer, and the fighters are going to get a lot of money, the promoters are going to get a lot of money, everyone's going to get a lot of money out of it. They've no choice, and it's like this: it's either they work the Galler, or Saudi set up their own independent promotional outfit and sign fighters, take fighters away from them promoters, and they're left with nothing. At least this way, they're still going to be affiliated to the promoters that are involved in the event. They'll get something out of it. But if they didn't, work the Galler or come up with this bill and let their fighters into this card, it's only a matter of time before Saudi just say, right, you know what, we're going to get a promoter's license. We're going to have a figurehead of that company, and we're just going to take fighters away from you. So at least that way, the way it is now, the promoters still get something out of it. The fighters get something out of it. Where if they didn't work with the guys in Saudi, Saudi gets everything out of it. So that no real choice.
What do you think about everybody saying that Spencer Brown needs all credit for getting them all together?
It's an interesting one because Spencer wasn't really known as a boxing manager. He's known as one of those guys that does a lot of after dinner speaking events, with ex-boxers, etc., putting on that type of event, and that's what he's brilliant at doing. He's been doing it a long time. Gold Star Promotions, he's got his own promotional outfit for, tours of ex-fighters, which is good for them because it gives them a living, and it keeps them involved in that respect, and gives an audience that ear and that insight of, obviously retired fighters' careers. But he hasn't really, I haven't really heard Spencer Brown being spoken about in that manner of getting people together, speaking with managers and promoters. And if he has got them together and has been involved in it and in that magnitude, well, fair play to him, because nothing the last 10 years really, nothing like this or nothing in the past would have got, those boxing promoters together, because when there's a lot of money involved, there's a lot of ego involved as well. So if he has done that, fair play to him.
Yeah, but there's that much on off. There's that much on offer now. There's that much on the plate. They don't want to upset anybody, do they?
They can't afford to. It's like what I said there in my previous point. Either go with it now, get something out of it, or if you don't, we'll just take your fighters and we'll get everything out of it. And that's the way you would think about it as a business person. Do you honestly think a fighter on a £1 million purse, and if a promoter comes to them and says, right, you know what, I'm going to give you 10 million a purse if you come with me, it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer what they're going to do. So I think for them, it keeps them involved, it keeps them earning, but I don't think they had a choice not to get together and put this event on.
Do you remember, Kent, back in the day, after every fight, everybody at the ringside, referees, promoters, the lot, managers, fighters, they're all, we want to thank Al Heyman. We want to thank Al Heyman. Well, look what they're doing now.
It's boxing has been like that for years. Managers,
They're all
promoters,
praising his
trainers.
excellence. This guy, aren't they? But this Turk dude.
Yep. Well, he's the one with all the money, Russell. So of course they're going to praise him. He's the one with the budget. He's the one that's going to spend it. So of course they're going to praise him. He's lining their pockets. He's paying them. So of course they're going to be praising him.
Yeah, can I get a big shout out to Mark at Stoke? Go on, lad. Pity you're a Man U fan.
Well, Russell, I feel sorry for the guy because I'm a Man United fan myself.
Are you Man U, Kent? Go on, lad.
I support a few clubs. I like European football as well. Yeah. So every year I support somebody different in Europe just to keep.
Did you play a bit when you were a kid, Kent?
Yeah, I played as a goalkeeper. So played a bit
Oh,
as a
goalie,
kid.
Kent, eh? Pat Jennings.
Yeah,
Go on,
played
Kent.
as a goalie. There was a great actually statue unveiled of Pat Jennings in Newry there last week in Northern Ireland. A great statue of him.
Go on, Kent.
Probably you would
with
say
statistics.
one of our greatest ever players.
Old Pat
Probably
Shovel Hands Jennings, he didn't need goalie gloves, did he?
probably the greatest keeper Tottenham Hotspur or Arsenal ever had. What a great
He
ambassador for
scored,
Northern
didn't he,
Ireland.
from his own goal with a kick out, didn't he?
Yeah, he's done that. He was probably the best goalkeeper in the 1982 and 1986 World Cup. What a fantastic goalkeeper. What a not even as a goalkeeper, just a great person in life. What a great ambassador, great role model for Northern Ireland. He was fantastic person. But Man United are dreadful at the minute, so they are. They're just really poor, really poor. And I can see Man United going so far down the rabbit hole. I probably can't see them getting out of it.
Yeah.
I can't see them getting out of it. I can't see them, not in the next 10 years anyway.
Bit like Max's boxing career.
Yeah. But you're a Liverpool fan, Russell, aren't you?
Liverpool through and through, son. Liverpool through
And
through.
do you support any? Do you like anybody in Europe? Do you follow anybody in European football?
No, not really. Just like Liverpool. I don't mind watching Bayern Munich. They're very precise, aren't they?
That's who I'm watching at the minute in Europe. They're brilliant. I actually think they'll win the Champions League this year. I think they're playing really good football. I like how they play it from the back, how they attack. They're absolutely
Playing it front back, Kent. Ooh, what next? The Christmas tree formation.
they actually play more of an attacking diamond out from the back. They're a fantastic team, and how they've been transformed from Thomas Tuchel, their manager. You know, Tuchel would have been more a defensive coach, where you look at the football he's playing at Bayern Munich, that they are sensational. I fancy Bayern to win the Champions League this year. That's my tip.
You're a regular Terry Mack, aren't you, Kent?
I wouldn't say that.
Hey, go on, Kent.
I just like sport. I love watching sport, but I'm watching a lot of the darts this week as well. I like the darts as well. So I do. So
Kent.
I just like watching sport. So I like
Do you remember
snooker.
him, Big Cliff Lazarenko?
Yes, I do. I actually seen him in Bullseye the other night from about 30 years ago.
What about old Stoneface John Lowe with missiles for darts? They were like submarines, weren't they?
Well, I'll tell you what, John Lowe was probably the first dart player to have his own signature darts, and he made a fortune out of them. And you know, John Lowe won 3 world titles in 3 different decades.
Yeah.
That's incredible, and made a fortune. Fantastic player, great darts player, great throwing action. But
Hey,
I do,
Ken.
I like sport.
You
I like sport. I like all types of sport.
Good man. Somebody just sent me so Spencer Oliver's just done there's an interview on IFL on Spencer Oliver and he's rinsing Miller.
Seen it. I seen it
But
last night.
Miller's nowhere near him or something. Is that right?
Yeah, well, that's
Why
what you
did you do
call.
that? Why did you do that earlier on at other end of the arena?
No, it's a disgrace. You know, that's
Oh,
somebody.
Spencer Oliver. Oh, Spencer
Yeah,
Oliver. Oh my God. Old Larry Two Face.
unreal. That's why I'm so annoyed. You know, you done an interview where you're
Well,
sitting
he had his
there and you
chance to ask him.
didn't ask them a question, didn't mention drugs, didn't mention a band, didn't mention anything. He just that was if he had any morals whatsoever, he would turn around and say, "Talk sport. You want me to do this? Well, I've been on this platform criticizing Conor Benn for close to 2 years to make this channel credible. And now you want me to go on and talk to Big Baby Miller, but not talk about drugs. So how are we credible? How are we credible as a broadcaster? It doesn't. It's actually bad from Talksport because Talksport get a lot of praise. Oh yes, they get banned from the Ngannou, Fury fight, and you've it's just that they made themselves credible by saying things about Conor Benn and about the Fury and Ghani fight. And then they've went full circle on this, on the Big Baby Miller interview. You know what? If Simon Jordan is a pundit at all and has an opinion, and he is who says he is, why doesn't he call out Spencer Oliver for that interview with Big Baby Miller on Monday?
I don't know.
Let's see if he calls him out on it.
We'll see, won't we? What do you think to Fury's attitude at the moment? Because he seems to be speaking to everybody with contempt, doesn't he? Who's even asks him anything, doesn't he? He's really aggressive in his answers. And what do you think, Ken?
I just think. I think when you're somebody like Tyson Fury and you have that profile and you have generated the money that he's earned, you've had the notoriety that he's got. You know, he's came full circle with the media, and to be on that pedestal as heavyweight champion, there's an entitlement to that. You know, you any sports star will have an entitlement. You know, Ronaldo will have an entitlement. You know, look what even happened with Ronaldo at Man United the second time around. He had such an entitlement about himself that made him even bigger than the club, and that didn't work out. And basically, Fury's got this entitlement about himself that he's bigger than boxing. He's more important than boxing. And all people were basically saying was, when is this Usyk fight happening? When are we going to see it? Why is it not happening? We would rather see you fight Usyk than Francis. And that's not bad. You know, that's something that any boxing fan would say. And Tyson knows boxing inside out. He's a boxing historian. And you know this, but with being around the family, he is a boxing historian. You know, I remember listening to him say that him and his brothers used to go around car boot sales and look for boxing books and look for boxing videos, and they used to get home and watch them and practice the styles of the boxers. And I love hearing stuff like that, because that tells me that someone loves the sport and knows the sport. And when you know the sport and understand the sport that way, plus you understand how the media operate, he should really understand that. And it's not personal. It's just people want to see him fight the best, to see who's the best, or see him prove himself to be the best. He shouldn't be taking it personal, because it's not.
Do you think he's shot, Kent?
Listen, it's really hard to say that I don't know how he trained. We don't know how he trained for that. Nobody really does, other than the people that was in the camp. Now, he was dropped heavily in that fight. Now, for me, someone that's dropped heavily, their powers of recovery isn't that good. If he was shot and his legs had gone, he wouldn't have got up from that shot.
He never went fighting back, did he?
You know, and you look at the Steve Cunningham shots that caught him, they were the similar type of shot from a similar type of angle and landed in a similar type of area. And he got up from them. So listen, we will know when he
Failed to catch him at end of one at rounds in third fight.
Yes, he did.
You were lucky there.
We will know if he's shot this next fight. Now, he's been down multiple times. You know, he went down against a massive puncher in Deontay Wilder. Now, what I want to clarify is that if you look at Wilder's resume, you know, as a heavyweight, and you look at the guys he's knocked out in his wins, there isn't really many elite wins on that record. as an elite heavyweight.
There's two men, isn't there?
Yeah, but you go back in history, and for me, I've stated this multiple times. For me, the biggest puncher at heavyweight I have ever seen was George Foreman.
Yeah.
I can't, you can't compare Deontay Wilder's power with George Foreman's power. I find George Foreman was a much bigger puncher and fought and knocked out a lot more better elite heavyweights. You know, look what he done to Joe Frazier. You know, he punched him literally into the air. You know, that was Joe Frazier was elite heavyweight. Deontay Wilder hasn't beat anyone anywhere near that level. So yes, he is a big puncher, but I don't agree with Frank Warren to say that no, the biggest ever heavyweight, puncher. For me, that my biggest heavyweight puncher was George Foreman. Then you go back and you look at, there's other great heavyweights there that were really, really big punchers, that fought around the
Big
60s
George
and
was just
70s.
wrecking through people, and he was lifting them off the floor, wasn't he?
George Foreman was literally a human wrecking machine.
Yeah, he was lifting them off the floor, Kemp, wasn't he? He was
he was
putting them on bottom moon, wasn't
he was a monster, and even as an older fighter coming back, his style had adapted so much. You know, he was so adaptive when he come back. It was amazing to see a fighter later on in their career. You know that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
he? He was enlisting when he turned pro, wasn't he?
A monster. He was an absolute monster as a fighter, and his comeback was really well built. You know, he'd done it on the indie scene. Then he worked his way up the top rank. And look at that. For anybody that's listening to this, go and watch Evander Holyfield against George Foreman. It was absolutely one of the best heavyweight fights I have ever seen. And you go into his resume, you look at his record, the fighters he fought was just terrifying. Yeah, look at his record. It's what a fighter. What a great. I would actually go as far to say, and I know you're an Ali man. You're a big Muhammad Ali fan, but
yeah,
my favorite heavyweight of all time is George Foreman.
Big George.
You look at them two resumes. You look at that. You look at their resume, and you look at Foreman's, and you look at Ali's. Look at fighters like Jimmy Young. George Foreman actually said Jimmy Young was the biggest puncher he ever fought. You look at fighters like Ernie Shavers. Which heavyweight around today could actually take the power of Ernie Shavers? None. And as well, look at Ron Lyle, another scurry heavyweight. What a massive puncher. And I'm not talking Dennis Hobson. Bob Foster come up from light heavyweight, the Sheriff. He was a massive puncher at light heavyweight. I think he stayed way too long at light heavyweight. Floyd Patterson was another fantastic heavyweight that back in the day, but their resumes compared to heavyweight resumes of now, it's not even compatible. It's not even an argument.
The mind heavyweight, who could take heavyweight punches off George Foreman? Who could take, or any Shavers, who could take a punch off Ann Wolf?
Well, I think she's known to be. I think. Who was it she knocked out in the gym? Who was it she knocked out in the gym? She dropped somebody.
That keeps going off, Ken.
Yeah,
it's annoying.
Yeah. Who was it? Who was it that she dropped in the gym?
I don't know. I seen a fight this lanky woman. She put her on button moon.
She's not somebody that you want to be messing about with. You're not getting the wrong side of Amwooth.
Oh,
So you'll not.
James Kirkland.
Kirkland, James Kirkland. Yes, it was. I think James. Yeah, it was James Kirkland.
What do you think to Big Meech going to Ben Davidson then? Do you remember also a few years ago when I said Ben Davidson were putting his son about to be Wilder trainer, right? Do you remember? And I got
Yeah,
tweeted. Well, there you go, because they said I'd never do that to Tyson, train Wilder. Well, he's done something worse, and he's training Joshua, Tyson's arch enemy.
listen, it's money talks. You know, you can't. It's his job to train people. So,
Exactly.
and if he doesn't train people, he doesn't get paid. If he doesn't get paid, he doesn't have a living. So you can't criticize. Nobody can. Listen, if AJ thinks it's the best thing for him, well, so be it. He's his own man. You know, he's changed a lot of trainers. At least what he's actually did, basically by doing that, he's basically acknowledged that the training over there and training there didn't work for him, and it clearly didn't. Yeah, you could see it in the Franklin fight. You could see it in the Hellenius fight. You know, even before he had left Rob, when he was with Rob, there was other people involved. Joby Clayton was there. Angel Hernandez was there. There was other pad coaches there. You're in between styles all the time. So how can you have one clear method of winning when you've so many different opinions with so many different methods of fighting? It just doesn't work. And if he's with Ben, he's with Ben. He's going to be with nobody else. So it's his last chance, and he had to acknowledge it wasn't working, because if he fights like that, the way he stood off Hellenius against Wilder, he will get smashed to pieces.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that Wallin's got a chance against Big Meech?
Wallin's not a big puncher, but he's an accurate puncher. He's a southpaw. He doesn't waste a lot. He doesn't have really that, you know, apart from the Fury fight, he doesn't really have a massive output. So he picks his shots really, really well. He's really good at pivoting as a southpaw and being really good at pivoting. That could cause AJ a lot of trouble. Same way the pivot of Usyk caused him a lot of trouble. If he can punch off the pivot and off an angle, he's going to give AJ a lot of trouble. Where AJ needs to be more aggressive against a southpaw. He can't watch the southpaw. He can't fall into the rhythm of Wallin. He needs to be very aggressive really, really early in the fight.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the only way that's not he can't box at Wallin's rhythm, or he will get outboxed. He has to be extremely aggressive. Now what some Ben Davison fighters have a lot of success with. I think AJ's best shot is his left hook. I think he needs to be throwing his left hook a lot more as a power shot, with a fighter that maybe is not as confident letting his hands go. The left hook is an easier shot to throw because it's out there anyway. It's just a matter of turning the arm over. So that's a shot I think is going to be really important for AJ in that fight against a southpaw as a left hook.
Do you think that Zhang and Wardley can feel a bit badly done to?
No, because
they're looking at. Hang on a minute. Do you think that Zhang and Fabio Wardley can feel badly done to, looking at Parker and that Mark Demori getting on the show?
No, because Zhang's injured at the minute. Zhang's got an injury at the minute, and he won't be fighting until next year.
Right.
Warren stated that last month. And with Wardley, I think if you're brutally honest, you're not. If you're looking at Mark Demore against Hrgovic. He's there really as cannon fodder, really. He's there because he's not going to cost an awful lot. That's probably a cash out fight for him. And at this stage of Wardley's career, I don't think he's ready yet for Hrgovic. I think if you look at the card and you look at the magnitude of the card, of course you're going to be disappointed. It's like not being picked to play in a Champions League final. You're going to be disappointed, but there's going to be other opportunities. If you look at the card itself and how it stacks up, Makhmudov is fighting Kabayel. You would look at that fight, you would feel slightly aggrieved because Kabayel would have been, for me, if I was, picking a fight for Wardley next, it would have been Kabayel. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities. He's only fought there recently. He's probably had a hard camp. He's probably fight again in February, which will be the next, obviously, December's happening 23rd, but the next big card is going to be in February. So not unless he's been promised, a slot on that card on February.
Yeah. Where do you think Adelaide goes from here now?
I think he needs to. He lacked a lot of experience in that fight. He looked flat. It looked like the magnitude of the event got to him. I think he talked about he spent too much time doing media before it, running about doing interviews, which you need to be really focused on the fight. You can do that a couple of days before, but not the day before. I think he needs to. He looked like he was carrying a lot of emotional energy and leaking a lot of emotional energy in the fight. And he looked like he wasted a lot of emotion in the fight.
Bit inexperience cost him.
Extremely inexperienced, not even a bit of inexperience, a lot of inexperience. And I think Wardley showed a lot of maturity in that fight, a lot of composure in that fight.
Yeah, he didn't rush his work, did
he? He was marvellous, the way he broke him down. And Ben Davison, if Ben Davison can get AJ working that same way with controlled aggression, I think you could see a lot better performance from AJ this time round against Wallin. But going back to Wardley, I thought Wardley's variation of the jab and how he used it, how he threw it from different angles, going forward, going back, pivoting on, with different speeds and different velocity, the power in the shots, the variation in that. I thought it was a really mature performance from him. Yeah. Really clinical, really clinical performance from Fabio Wardley. A mature performance from him.
What do you think to that Saul Dakaris they're all talking about? He's obviously left Eddie, hasn't he, for Frank?
Well, it looks like he's going to get more opportunities from Frank. Frank is involved. Obviously now Eddie's involved in this, but there was nobody really there at Matchroom for him to fight other than Johnny Fisher. I don't think Johnny Fisher at this time is ready for a seasoned amateur who's just turned professional the last 2 years, and so Dakaris. I think it's a better move for him going over to Frank. Don't be surprised a fight down the line if you see Sol Dakaris fighting Fabio Wardley for a vacant British title. But it's a good move for him because Frank has a lot of heavyweights, and when you have a lot of heavyweights, you have a lot of opportunities.
Well, is it driving seat with heavyweights picked up, isn't he?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see when Zhang comes back if he's going to be on this card in February. But he's got a lot of, and don't forget, there's Joe Joyce there as well, coming back next year. It's looking really good for Frank to have all these heavyweight fighters, because Saudi like heavyweight boxing. Yeah. They want to promote heavyweight boxing because it generates revenue, it generates interest, and it generates money. And Frank Warren has got a lot of opportunities there for his fighters to fight on those cards. So obviously it does look good for him to have that amount of heavyweights in the stable, because they're all going to they're all going to get work.
Yeah. Where does it leave Eddie this time with heavyweight scene?
It's simple. It's not really complicated. It goes like this. Joshua just needs to win.
Yeah.
That's all. If Joshua just needs to win against Wallin, what will happen next will be basically he will fight again in February on the undercard of Usyk and Fury, and he will fight the winner. I think looking back at the last performance, you would fancy AJ's chances more against Fury than you would fancy his chances against Usyk.
Yeah.
Off performances. So it's like doing a lottery for them. It's like doing a lottery all over the game.
What do you think, Kent, about the rumour that the IBF, soon as the February fight Undisputed's done, they're gonna take their belt back, the IBF belt, because Fury and Usyk are gonna fight again. They're gonna make that vacant and put winner Ergovic Mori in with winner Joshua Wallin.
Well, that's the sanctioning bodies. You know, the sanctioning bodies have done this from time began. It's not a surprise. It happened with Lennox Lewis. The IBF, you know, he lost the IBF. They done it with Tyson Fury. So they'll do it again. They want sanctioning fees. They want to get paid. You know, as well as being a sanctioning body, they're actually a business, and a business needs revenue and needs income. So for them, I don't think it's really that smart, because whatever, say, Hergovich and somebody else, apart from maybe Joshua in the division, it doesn't make a lot, because the purse split's going to be really low. Where if you have a purse split with either AJ, Usyk, or Fury, it's going to be a bit higher. It's going to be a bit more.
Yeah, it's going to be Eddie getting in through back door with Joshua, isn't it? Again, you know, with a belt, if they can get to Ergovic, you know, for a vacant belt.
I don't think as much the belt does it, because it's not as credible, and everyone can say, well, he didn't beat the champion to win it. I think Eddie's not looking. I think Eddie getting in the back door isn't going to be Joshua winning the IBF. He knows that. Eddie getting in the back door is Joshua going and winning the heavyweight title again, either beating Fury or beating Usyk. That's the only way. It's been basically 2 years, the year since he's fought Usyk. You know, Usyk, you know, was a heavyweight, any heavyweight, you know, any fighter, any athlete ages. And for the longer things are going, and if Joshua can just keep in the background, keep winning, it doesn't matter about looking good. As long as he keeps winning, he's going to get an opportunity again. And you've seen how Fury performed against Francis. You know, that's what they're hoping for. That's what they're looking for if he gets back in and gets an opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You want to go on to part 2, Ken?
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.